Volume 1, Chapter 10, The First Villages. For hundreds of thousands of years, human beings followed the rhythm of the seasons. They crossed mountains, wandered through fertile plains, and traveled along coastlines in search of food, water, and safety. Movement was an essential part of their existence. The entire world was their homeland. Then, slowly, something changed. The landscapes evolved. Climatic conditions became more stable in certain regions. Generations of accumulated knowledge allowed human communities to understand their environment better than ever before. Humanity was no longer simply living within nature, it was beginning to choose where it wished to belong. The first villages did not appear overnight. They were the result of a long and silent transformation shaped by observation, adaptation, and countless small innovations. Across prehistoric Morocco, certain regions offered ideal conditions for more permanent settlements. Fertile valleys, riverbanks, and coastal areas gradually became favored locations for human communities. Seasonal camps slowly evolved into places of return. People came back to the same lands year after year. They understood the migration patterns of animals, the cycles of wild plants, and the resources available within their surroundings. A new relationship between humanity and the land had begun. For the first time, certain places became more than temporary shelters. They became places of memory. Knowledge was shared there. Stories were passed from one generation to another. Children grew up in landscapes that would later become familiar to their own descendants. The emergence of the first villages represents one of humanity's great silent revolutions. These early communities laid the foundations for the complex societies that would emerge thousands of years later. They encouraged new forms of cooperation, collective organization, and the preservation of knowledge. Archaeological discoveries throughout Morocco reveal an exceptionally ancient and diverse history of human occupation. Although the first true villages gradually appeared during the Neolithic period, human communities had already developed strong connections with particular territories long before permanent settlements became widespread. The inhabitants of these early villages did not yet live in organized cities. Their daily lives remained deeply connected to the natural world around them. They hunted, fished, gathered wild resources, and slowly mastered techniques that would eventually transform human civilization itself. The earliest forms of animal domestication and agriculture, introduced gradually through cultural exchanges across the Mediterranean world and adapted to local conditions, would profoundly reshape North African societies. These transformations did not occur everywhere at the same time. Some communities continued to live as hunters and gatherers for thousands of years, while others experimented with entirely new ways of organizing their economic and social lives. Human history has never followed a straight line. It is a story of encounters, exchanges, and continual adaptation. Imagine a Moroccan valley 8,000 or 9,000 years ago. Small dwellings stand beside a freshwater spring. Carefully crafted tools rest near the warmth of ancient hearths. Entire generations return to live upon the same land. Knowledge no longer disappears with the changing seasons. It accumulates, grows, and becomes part of a community's identity. The first villages also transformed humanity's relationship with time itself. The future became something that could be anticipated. Resources had to be preserved. Seasons had to be understood. Knowledge had to be transmitted not merely as individual experience, but as collective wisdom. Yesterday's villages would eventually become today's cities. Some of the most ordinary aspects of modern life can trace their origins to this quiet revolution. The desire to build a home, protect one's family, preserve knowledge, and belong to a particular place. Long before Morocco's imperial cities, Casbahs, and ancient Medinas existed, its earliest inhabitants discovered that a territory could become something far greater than a place through which one simply passes. It could become home.